Hi guys, welcome. Danny here from the Magic Junk Drawer. And this is the December tarot reading if you are a Gemini. Now I have to tell you, when they do these general quick reads, they say that they're usually for if you're a sun, moon, or rising sign, Gemini. But it's very broad. So what I want to do is, if you're watching these videos and you have like a specific question, feel free to post a question. Like, say, just for argument's sake, on this video, you're a Gemini and you just write, I'm a Gemini and I have a question about my job. Am I going to get the promotion? I'll pick somebody's question and I'll answer it, and then I'll make a video on it. So feel free to ask questions. I won't be able to answer them all because, I don't have a lot of time, I don't have that much time. But if you want to put up some questions, sure. And, we'll see what happens because it's very broad. It's hard to, it's like a general horoscope. Like every Pisces that reads the Pisces horoscope in the newspaper, you're not going to have the same thing happen to them. I mean, let's face it. There are how many babies born in the hospital on the same day at the same time? Their charts are very similar. They may even be identical, but they don't lead the same lives. I mean, somebody was in the hospital being born next to Marilyn Monroe that did not grow up to be Marilyn Monroe. So, there are differences, and there are, in everything. And there are reasons and things that affect it. Not to mention, I always say the biggest one is free will. Because people think, well, if it's destined to happen, it's destined to happen. Yeah, but the timing might not always be destined. Like, here's an example. I had a friend who I worked with, and she dated this guy for a couple of years, I think. And then they had a really bad breakup. And they weren't together for a very long time, maybe a year, maybe even longer than that. I don't remember exactly how long, but it was a long time. And she was with somebody else and he was with somebody else. And then like 3 years later or something crazy like that, they wound up getting back together. And then they wound up getting married. So in the 3 years that they were both living their separate lives, it would have seemed like they weren't going to end up together because she was with somebody serious and so was he. But one way or another, they found their way back to each other. So, when you're living through the 3 years, now he's with whoever he was with. I didn't know that person. And I knew the guy that she was dating. It seemed like they were going to end up together. Like their relationship was very stable. Look, I wasn't a fly on the wall, but it seemed like they were a good match. But for the 3 years, it seemed like she was going to end up with him, and then she wound up going getting back with the first guy. So sometimes this is where I feel like it's a fated thing. It's like it was destined for the two of them to end up together, but it wasn't destined to happen in the 3 years. So if I had been reading cards for her over the 3 years and saying, oh, I think somebody from your past is coming back, she probably would have been like, no, that's not true because I'm with this guy. But in the meantime, she didn't wind up with this guy. She wound up with the first guy. So it's difficult sometimes because you don't know when the end is. Like just because it didn't happen today or it doesn't happen tomorrow doesn't mean it's never going to happen. And it can be a little bit difficult. It can be hard to, like, you don't always, like, at what point do you say, okay, it's never going to happen? I mean, and then there's also like the soulmate thing. Like mountains will move when two soulmates are supposed to be together. If you're supposed to be with this person, if you don't go out, to a bar every night and you don't do online dating, well, if you're meant to be with this person, you'll meet him at the gas station or, wherever, the gym, wherever, because that's what's meant to happen. And nobody can stand in your way because what's going to take place is going to take place. There's just the element of free will. So the element of free will would be if I choose not to, if I chose not to go out on Tuesday night, but instead I met him at the gas station on Wednesday. You can only, some things are destined and they're going to happen no matter how you try to avoid it. And then there's other things that, you can have free will over. Like if I were to tell you, hey, you're going to buy a new car, and I keep seeing you in a new car, and the cards keep showing that you're going to get a new car, and then you keep putting it off just to prove me wrong. I mean, eventually you're going to get a new car. It's the same thing. Like, I always laugh when people are like, oh, you're going on a trip. Yeah, well, eventually I'm going to go somewhere. I mean, right? Sooner or later, I'm going to go somewhere. Okay, so here we go, Gemini. 5-card pull. Whoa. Ha. Not such a bad month. You got one little snag here, but it doesn't look like it's such a big deal. You have the 8 of Wands, which is news comes in fast or something happens fast. So if you've been waiting for something to happen or you're working on a project, that's something happening fast. The Page of Cups upright, you got good news coming in. And the Page of Cups could also be a Pisces. The Ace of Pentacles, new business opportunity. It could also be a new love. The only thing here that's a little bit of a snag is you have the Lovers in reverse. So you could go through a little bit of a rough time with your significant other. But it could be like a dispute or a fight. It doesn't have to be that serious. You have the Knight of Pentacles too, so that's also ushering in good luck or a good news. And this looks like a pretty good reading. Yeah, something that you've been waiting for happens pretty quickly. You have good news, maybe from a Pisces, or this could be one of your kids. Sometimes the page is child. And the Knight of Pentacles also brings in good luck. The only thing that I'm not crazy for is that the Lovers are reversed, but that's not the biggest deal. It could be a fight. Let's pull an angel card to get a little bit of clarity. The Emperor, Archangel Michael, organization and logic, structure and discipline and leadership. So you got all this good news coming in. It may be a new business beginning. It could be a new love, or it could be a new beginning to your current love. You have the Lovers in reverse, so I'd watch out for a little bit of fight or a minor upset, but doesn't sound like it's going to be anything too bad. All right, Gemini, have a great month, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.